Joining us now on this Tournament Week Monday is one of our good friends, Blaine Fowler, on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline, dual threat analyst, national champion. Blaine, BYU's a 6 seed. They're back in the tournament for the first time in 6 years. How do you feel about the Cougars and where the committee placed them?
Actually, I'm really excited about it. And honestly, and I know it's been a while, but in the most recent years when BYU's been in the tournament, I have felt like they've been underseeded, or I guess, is that the right word? They were too high, way too high. They didn't get the seed that they deserved, and I was really bothered by that. This time, I honestly expected them to be a 7 seed, and I thought, man, if maybe they could be a 6. If they got a 7, I would have felt like they were properly placed. For them to get a 6 to me was really a relief. I felt good about it, and I'm okay with their bracket as well. I know there's a couple of big names in that play-in game that get a chance to go meet BYU on Saturday, but those big names have not had quite the seasons that they normally do. So overall, I'm very pleased. I feel like the NCAA Tournament Committee gave BYU a fair seed this year, and I think this team's built to do well in this tournament. I really do.
Let's talk about the potential matchup, as you mentioned, with Michigan State and UCLA. Obviously, a couple blue bloods there. UCLA, million titles. Michigan State, a team that always you feel like could make a run in the NCAA tournament. But like you mentioned, they've underachieved. And Blaine, they've been kind of poor away from home. They've been sub-500 teams away from home. Both have stumbled into the tourney, 4-6 and 5-5 respectively. So this is a game BYU will be favored to win. And since 81, Blaine, when BYU is a 7 seed or better, the Cougars have won that first game every time.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that history that you point out, Jeremy. And I like to look at recent past with these teams. How are they coming into the tournament? Are they coming in on a roll? Are they playing their best basketball? And Michigan State has some really good quad one wins, and they played in the toughest conference in college basketball this year. But as you mentioned, they've kind of stumbled down the stretch in their last 10 games. They have not been as good. UCLA is the same story. Those two teams have different styles. UCLA, to me, relies more on athleticism and speed. Michigan State's a physical team. I think you have to be to compete in the Big Ten. So they're different styles. But I don't think that matters, because I think BYU has proven to us this year that they can play and win regardless of what the style is. They can play in a slower game where they've got to rely on an inside presence and be really physical, and they've got multiple bigs that can come in and be physical, and the guards aren't afraid of physicality, and they can match up okay and stay in front of the teams that have quickness. And so I don't know that it really matters who they get. I do think that Michigan State has played in a tougher conference this year, and so maybe they're a little scarier because they're going to be physical and grind it out with you. But I don't think it really matters that much. And I know UCLA is slightly favored in that play-in game. But for BYU, I feel confident that regardless of who they play between UCLA and Michigan State, they can match that style and have success.
Blaine, how much of an advantage, if at all, is BYU taking on a team that has just played what we believe is going to be a hard-fought Thursday night game about 48 hours later?
This is the same question we always have in the WCC tournament, right, Spencer? We were talking about this down in Vegas. Because there's a day of rest in between. These teams are used to playing Thursday, Saturday turnarounds all the time during the regular season. And so I don't think it's a huge disadvantage, and it might be a slight advantage to have been on the floor and to maybe get a little bit of a flow going in. To me, the disadvantage of having just played and maybe being just a little bit tired versus the advantage of having been on the floor and maybe have a little momentum, I think they're a wash. And so I don't think that there's a huge advantage one way or the other, because I think those two things cancel one another out in terms of how it affects the game. If it gets to be a tight game down the stretch where you're just grinding, then I would think the advantage would be to BYU because they would have fresher legs down the stretch. Outside of that, I'm going to call that a wash.
Playing in Hinkle Fieldhouse is going to be pretty cool. Of course, made famous by Hoosiers, but that's where Butler plays. And as Spencer reminded us, Alex Barcelo thought about transferring to either Butler or BYU. So now he comes back to Butler with BYU. Matt Harms at Purdue in the area, of course. That's a side, although not the one BYU will play at, perhaps later. And then Mark Pope used to play for the Pacers. So there's some fun connections here.
Yeah, I like it. And it's a unique tournament format. I mean, when do we ever have a playing game on a Thursday and you start your tournament on a Saturday and then you play beginning of the week? They're in this environment where, man, are these guys going to be, well, they have been and will continue to be tested like crazy going in this unique COVID year. It's unique that they're going to go to one place and play in this tournament. I kind of like that from BYU's perspective, because how many times has BYU, because of the no Sunday play rule, maybe been hurt by us, maybe dropped a seed or two because they had to play in a different bracket than they normally would have been. And as they get moved, they drop a seed, having to travel all the way to the East Coast. I'm feeling really good about this. I think it's a really cool venue to play in with a lot of history. And I think the guys appreciate that history. But I also feel like having the whole tournament in Indianapolis completely levels the field. And in an area where BYU's been hurt in past years, where they've had big time travel away from home, I feel like that's not a factor this year. So that's in BYU's favor. So I love it. I love the whole thing.
BYU does have the luxury of Matt Harms, who has played in an Elite Eight and has NCAA tournament experience. They've got 3 seniors overall that have a little bit of tournament experience. So how much do you think that factors into being an advantage for BYU, or is that more of a wash situation too?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's a wash. I'll tell you, the best experience BYU's had to prepare from this tournament is they've played Gonzaga 3 times, right? So who are they going to be afraid of going into this thing?
My point exactly.
They've just played the best team in the country without question 3 times. Played them once at home, once at third place, and of course there's not the home crowds this year, so that's kind of a wash. And then once on a neutral court, so an unfamiliar, which in typical years is a Gonzaga home floor, right? But they played them in 3 different venues, 3 times, the best team in the nation, and they should not have any fear against anybody in this tournament. Nobody they're going to play has more talent, is better balanced, or plays better defense than the Zags. And I think this last outing, where they had the Zags on the rope, maybe more than anybody this season has had them on the rope, and they fell apart a little bit down the stretch. I don't think the 10-point loss is indicative of how that game was. Some free throws spread that, and Suggs just went off as he does. But to me, that's the most important preparation for BYU this season, is that they played them 3 times. If they don't go in here just looking at any team that they're matching up with and go, now these guys aren't better than the Zags, and we know we can play with them, we can play with anybody. That confidence factor is big going into a tournament, and I think that gives them the edge against anybody they play early in this bracket.
And let's talk more about defense. So what BYU did in the WCC tournament made it so BYU, according to Ken Pom and adjusted defensive efficiency, this is the best BYU defense in the Ken Pom era. That's the last 25 years, Blaine. Where do you think that manifests itself, and how much of an advantage is that for BYU in the NCAA tournament, where sometimes it does get a little more defensive in a neutral gym, grinded out half-court style of play?
It's huge. And I have felt to win in advance, maybe not in the first round, although I think BYU's first round game those are not typical 11 seeds, right? I think those are and I think it's been said, those are probably the 2 best 11 seeds in any bracket, right? So that's not a typical first round game, but they should be able to just go out and win that first. I still think that they should be able to go, but when you get into the second round and the third round, sometimes you don't shoot great, because every possession in NCAA tournament has that additional pressure of every possession counts, because if we don't win this game, we're going home. I mean, that just looming over every single time down the court manifests itself in NCAA tournament games. And we see teams not shoot great percentages with very few exceptions. And the teams that, when they're having a little bit of a scoring drought, can stay in games because they can defend, are the teams that win in advance. If you're going to win more than one game in the tournament, let's say you get to a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8, you're going to have a game where you shoot like crap. Can I say crap on TV? I think
you already did.
But okay, so you're going to have a game where you shoot like crap, and you're going to stay in that game because you can rise to the task and play defense. And BYU is unique. They're better in perimeter defense because they have rim protectors, and it's not just Harms. I mean, he's elite rim protector. But Harvard comes in, and he's a physical presence there in front of the rim. that allows you as a guard line to push up and play people at 3-point line a little more aggressively, because you know if you get beat off the dribble because you're a little too aggressive, you're just going to put your nose on the back of their number and you're going to say, you're not going to shoot a pull-up jump shot. You are going to continue all the way to the rim because I got help at the rim. It changes the way you play perimeter defense. So having a rim protector in that presence makes you better overall defensively. And I also think that Averett and Barcelo Averett's got great lateral quickness. He can stay in front of the ball for a long time. The longer you can stay in front of the ball, the better, right? I think Alex is a really physical, tough defender that stays in front of the ball. We think about the great shot blockers in there for BYU, but the reason they have the best numbers in 25 years is not just because of that. It's because they're also really good on the perimeter. And then Caleb Lohner, I mean, can we start calling the guy a freak? He's a freak.
Yeah.
As big and long and active and strong as he is, I can't believe that he's not. He looks like he's 25 years old. That's how he's built. He's got great lateral quickness. He has good length. He's got toughness. He just continues to get better. He's been a ridiculous rebounder, so he's going to clean the boards from you. And now all of a sudden his shot is falling. He's going to be a superstar, but he's already an important piece. And it's not just his offensive skills. It's his ability to play D on really athletic players and his ability to go make sure you clean that defensive glass, because in NCAA tournament play, you can't give up a bunch of second chance points. I'm confident that guy's not giving up second chance points. So, I mean, that's a long answer to your question, guys, but yes, BYU is really good defensively, and it is a huge factor in tournament play.
Blaine, great stuff. And for what it's worth, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that Coach Norman Dale of the Hickory Huskers and Jimmy Chitwood are BYU fans. So they've got that going for them as well as they head to Indiana.
When sober.
Yeah, I've always felt like, is Harding not
Jimmy Chitwood?
Looks like Jimmy Chitwood.
Jimmy Chitwood, yes.
When he first came and he shot a baseline jumper, I'm like, holy cow, BYU signed Jimmy Chitwood.
And
I've always felt that way.
I think he said to Mark, I'm going to make it.
Yeah, I'll make it.
He is the fact that we actually have the reincarnation of Chitwood on the team has to fare well for us, right? I think so.
I love it. Blaine, great,
all right, guys.
Great to talk to you, man.
Good to be with you. Thanks, guys.
Blaine Fowler on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline.